Hello, welcome back to Teen Story Share. This week we're continuing Mirror Girls by Kelly McWilliams. If you missed the last 2 weeks of reading, I'll be linking those down below. You'll definitely want to start there if you haven't seen those already. For those of you that have been following along, you may remember in an early chapter, the grandmother, Jeanette Yates, said, "Nothing ever changes in Eureka, nothing ever dies either." So in today's chapters, we're going to learn a little bit more about what she meant by that. Also, just as a quick reminder, this book does take place in 1950s Georgia, so you'll be hearing things related to racism, racial violence, and including some outdated language. Chapter 4, Magnolia. Perched before my vanity's mirror, I hold as still as General Lee's statue in the town square, waiting for my reflection to come on home. Minutes pass, but it is no use. My reflection has been gone 5 days. In its place, I am left with a powerful, swelling dread. Since grandmother died, I have managed to keep to my rooms, convalescing in my mourning clothes. Black silk surrounds me, cool as water. When I drift to sleep, I dream of black taffeta clouds. There's not much difference now between wakefulness and dreaming. I open my diary, where I have scribbled theories of my case. Theory 1. I am a monster, neither colored nor white. That is why I do not appear in the looking glass. Theory 2. I am a liar, and liars do not deserve a reflection. I pause, wet my pen, and add, Theory 3. I am imagining things. Grandmother's secret has driven me insane. As I write the last, an icy thumb presses against my sternum. Do the insane know they have taken leave of their senses? Would I know? Truth be told, I have never liked my vanity. All along the mirror's porcelain siding, Negroes serve masters on a pastoral meadow, ferrying lemonade to picnic-goers or fanning them with palm fronds. These are familiar vignettes, depictions of our southern hospitality and the languid summertime leisure for which we Georgians are rightfully famous. But sometimes I rather think the colored people move. It is not always the same servant holding the fan or smiling broadly at his master's guest. Occasionally, the painted people do not seem to be smiling at all. They are grimacing, baring teeth. My Aunt Hilda knocks. Magnolia, might I come in? No. The door creaks open anyhow. Sugar pie, don't tell me you're still in bed. Reeking of bourbon even at this hour, Aunt Hilda bustles into my room. Now you listen to an old woman. You cannot withdraw from your life, not when you are of marrying age. Is that Finch Whalen home yet? Why don't you call him, see a picture show? Excessive grief is murder for the complexion. In one swift motion, Aunt Hilda throws my curtains wide. No, don't, I cry, shrinking from the strong plantation sunlight. It's enough, Magnolia. Lord, don't you think I'm hurting too? Shame rolls over me in a black wave. Grandmother and Aunt Hilda were sisters after all. Like me, she wears silk mourning clothes. Sugar pie, Anna May Whalen's waiting downstairs. I am incensed. Auntie, I am in no state to entertain callers. Your best friend won't hold it against you. I remember when y'all were knee-high babies, catching crawfish down by the river, coming home filthy as mice. Now get up and show your good breedin'. Grumbling, I obey. A southern lady never keeps a guest waiting. Aunt Hilda looks me over. Let's see a smile. I stretch my lips into a grimace. You look better already, pretty as a peach. In the vanity's mirror, my Aunt Hilda is clearly reflected, but I am not. Does she notice? Does she see? What's wrong, Sugar Pie? You look like a goose walked over your grave. Can you see me? In the mirror, I mean. She glances back to the spot where I ought to be reflected. Course I can. I'm not so old I'm blind. Powerfully drawn, I take another look at the mirror. Whenever I studied my reflection before, I always saw a pretty young white girl, the future Mrs. Finch Whalen, looking back. Now, why is it like I am already a ghost? Only I reckon nobody knows it but me. Anna May greets me in the parlor, wearing a yellow dress patterned with sunflowers. Standing beside the marble fireplace, she looks none too pleased. "Magnolia, where in heaven have you been?" "Sorry, Anna May. It's been plumb chaos since the funeral." "But why haven't you answered the phone? Didn't you get my flowers?" It was terribly rude of me not to send a thank you note when Anna May's roses arrived, but I had a lost reflection on my mind. A Southern lady always offers refreshments. "Can I fetch you a glass of mint tea?" Anna May cocks her head. "Why, bless your heart, there's lipstick on your teeth." Oh, Foot. Every day of my life I have carefully consulted my reflection, because in the end my looks are all I have. I did not complete my senior year of high school. Grandmother, always old-fashioned, never believed in schooling for girls. Anna May and the rest of my friends graduated last week. I was looking forward to spending a carefree summer with them, to picnics and drive-in movies. Normal life. Here, Anna May reaches out, scrubbing the scarlet stain from my teeth with her index finger. The gesture reminds me how close we used to be. Suddenly, I am dying to tell my oldest friend everything, the whole truth. "Anna May, I am colored. That is all I have to say. My mother was colored, and so am I." Never before have words so eluded me. I am so frustrated I could shriek, but grandmother taught me better. Like sucking down an oyster, I swallow my ugly feelings in a single gulp. "Listen, I came because—" Anna May smiles, transforming into someone beautiful, though her face is too thin, like a weasel's. "I have the grandest news." Anna May hops from hobby to hobby, loving whatever it is, knitting, cooking, crafting, with her whole soul for precisely 6 months. Lately, it is segregation. She wants more of it. "We've done it! The Junior White Women's Auxiliary helped pass a law. Real change is happening because of little old me." Oh, Lord, the cemetery segregation petition. My smile wilts. "We got near on 500 signatures, so my daddy arranged a meeting for me and the state senator. Course, the senator agreed that it is absolutely shameful, disgusting, that Eureka's only cemetery is the final resting place for both white and coloreds alike. So he brought legislation before the Senate, and we won! Magnolia, I helped pass a gosh darn law." Breathless, she clutches her pearls. The Segregated Internment Initiative. "How do you segregate a cemetery, Anna May? Are y'all digging up bodies?" "Not white ones, silly. Just coloreds. We got to move them somehow, ain't we?" Chilled despite the heat, I cross my arms over my chest. "I'm certain no one will mind. It'll be such a relief, not just to us, but to the Negroes, to have everyone buried in their own place." Anna May beams expectantly. When she won a ribbon at the science fair, she looked at me in the exact same way. Only this is no science project, and whatever happens next, I'll bear some of the blame. Like all of Anna May's friends, I let her pressure me into signing that petition with my full name, Magnolia Rose Heathwood. Course, I never imagined anything would come of it. Now the truth slams into me. I cannot tell my best friend who I am, not ever. Over the years, we have shared hairbrushes, toothbrushes, even beds. Her disgust if she learns I am colored will kill me. Then there's Finch, her brother, who's fixin' to propose as soon as he gets back from his first year at Georgia State. Our marriage wouldn't just be illegal. To Anna May and the rest, it'd be the gravest of sins. I'm the gravest of sins. Anyhow, I'm throwing a supper party to celebrate. A gravedigger's potluck. Ain't that a cute little theme? Grave digging. Magnolia, will you come? You must be ever vigilant, grandmother said on her deathbed. Anyone can see the Negro in your face if they know what they're looking for. I slapped my smile back into place. Course I'll come, if the creek don't rise. Anna May's in a rush, preparing for her potluck. She hugs me and lets herself out. At first I am too stunned to feel a thing. Then my face prickles like 1,000 needles lie beneath my skin. I hurry toward the grand stair, wanting nothing more than to cry in my room alone. Not long after, Odessa visits me. Exhausted, I am tucked miserably into bed. Odessa strokes my hair, like she did when I was small. I feel like weeping, spilling all my secrets. I have just opened my mouth to tell her that I am colored and that in signing Anime's god-awful petition, I have made a terrible mistake, when she covers my pale hand with her brown one. Miss Magnolia, I see how you are suffering. You've got to make a choice. Do you understand what I mean? Odessa's knowing look shocks the air from my chest. I toss my covers aside, furious as a Southern lady should never be. Why, you knew I was colored all along. Odessa smooths the pleats of her apron. I knew. Why didn't you tell me? I had a right to know. Try to understand. Mrs. Heathwood was a harsh mistress. If I ever said a word, she'd have fired me quicker than you can spit. For years, I struggled to be demure enough, pretty enough, obedient enough for grandmother. I fashioned myself into the perfect Southern lady, but all in vain. Grandmother could never love me, not truly. My vanity's mirror reflects my lacy curtains, the peony wallpaper, and Odessa in her solemn maid's uniform. But it does not, or will not, reflect Magnolia Heathwood. Odessa touches my cheek. I tried my best to teach you about us. Remember all my bedtime stories about black and white and how neither is better than the other? And when you were older, I tried to teach you about Jim Crow, the evil of it. Her eyes harden. I suppose that lesson didn't quite sink in. I heard you talking with Anime. You should know better than to attend that awful gravedigger's potluck. Ashamed, I shrink back. Grandmother said I must always keep up appearances, mustn't I? She puts her nose up. Well, that's for you to decide. Suddenly, Odessa seems a life raft. Girls like me? What becomes of them? Some pass for white, lie their whole lives long. Then it's possible. Course it's possible, she grumbles, but passing for white is a dreadful thing, and dangerous. What if you married your Finch Whalen? Grandmother said our family needs his wealth to restore our good name. Miss Blanche was only looking out for Heathwood. She didn't have your best interests at heart. Ask yourself, what if you married this white boy and your child came dark? How would you explain that, Miss Magnolia? Eureka's hatred of miscegenation, race mixing, runs fathoms deep. Women have died for less. An eerie pressure builds inside my head. Mortal fear. Raised sheltered as a hothouse flower, I do not believe I have ever felt it before. You can choose different, Miss Magnolia. I shake my head. You're wrong. I have no choice. Never did. For a long time, Odessa is silent. Marie Ann Yates, she says at last. What? That was your mother's name. Visit her grave. That's how you start to heal. She scowls. But first you've got to quit this ugly pretending. If you keep on playing white, I'll wash my hands of you. I gasp. You wouldn't. Didn't you raise me? Don't we love each other? I don't love anybody white, but I'd die for any woman or child in Colored Town. That's how our people have survived for so long, by watching out for our own. Odessa, what would you have me do? I hate the childish whine in my voice. Must I truly give up everything I've ever known? How is that fair? You ought to know by now that nothing in this world is fair. Hopelessness rushes in, seeking to drown me. Odessa does not coddle me, does not dote or dry my tears, as she always has in the past. On the contrary, she simply walks out, leaving me alone with an impossible choice. I huddle against my pillow. In an hour, I will have to get up and dress for Anime's party. After all, grandmother's dying wish was for me to lie. And yet, pretending will take me apart piece by piece. It will begin with Anime's grisly gravedigger's potluck, where I'll eat hors d'oeuvres while my friends congratulate themselves on digging up colored bones. Meanwhile, I shall be holding back my secret, trying not to scream. Chapter 5. Charlie. I wake in bed with Nana, sweats gathered behind my knees, the heat unbearable. I kick the quilt off my legs. A mosquito whines, zinging too close to my ear. Takes me a minute to remember that I'm not safe in our apartment on 125th Street, that I've been napping in the house that was once Mama's before she was shot to death on a southern road. I curl toward my grandmother. Her face is drawn, eyes open. Tears have carved rivers down her frozen cheeks. Oh my goodness. Nana? I shake her. Nana, wake up. Terror crashes like a subway train through my chest, rattling blood and bones. I shake her harder, pinching, begging. We've got to get out of here, Nana. Back to Harlem. We'll make sweet potato pie and listen to the radio. I know you like Chuck Berry's rock and roll, even if you pretend you don't. Horror floods me because Nana won't wake. This place, it's not good for your blood pressure. That's all. The doctor said rest, no stress. So we're going home, you hear me? Nana doesn't answer. I pry my grandmother's weathered hands apart, needing to make her understand that she can't die and leave me all alone. A piece of paper flutters from her loosened grip. A picture. I pick it up. When she passed, Nana was holding a picture of us. In the photo, I'm 9 at the West Harlem block party. Nana, wearing her church hat, didn't want to come. Always said the streets were too loud. But I begged her. Mr. Alfie was there, selling gelato. All our neighbors came too, everyone I've ever loved. Like it was yesterday, I can hear the crack and pop of the photographer's flash bulb. I'd never had my picture taken before, Nana either. We look excited, nervous. I drop the photo like it burns me, because Nana's gone. My fault, I whisper. Never should have come. The air crackles, electric. My teeth chatter. The room gone as cold as in New York in midwinter. Something whispers, Charlene. The word flutters by me like a scrap of newsprint. For help I look to Nana, but her face is shuttered. Charlene, baby, come here. I grab Nana's cane, wielding it like a baseball bat. My legs carry me through the hall to my mother's bedroom. It's a country plain room with a chair and a wooden dresser. Country plain except for one thing. A great glittering mirror standing on clawed feet. My jaw drops. Takes all my courage to look closer. Incredibly, the mirror's reflective surface is pitch black, darker even than the Hudson River at night. Can a black mirror even make a reflection? Yes. In the murky depths, I see the rough old rocking chair behind me, its outline silver in the dark glass, and me with my loose curls falling around my face. What must such a mirror be worth? Plunk, plunk. A sound like someone wading through water. When I die, the veil will be even thinner, nearly gone, so long as my spirit's hanging around, Nana said. Find a mirror. Your mama will tell you all you need to know. My hands go slack, and Nana's cane falls to the floor. A smoky shape forms in the glass and then slowly solidifies. In another heartbeat, there's a woman in the mirror. She's clear now, as real as the reflection of the rocking chair behind me. Her hair swirls around her face like she's submerged. She's soaked, dripping, and undeniably dead. A hole craters her temple, the bloodless outline of a gunshot. I recognize Mama's face, so much like mine, like Nana's. She wears a white dress, dripping water, a wedding dress. I stop breathing because ghosts are real, at least here in Eureka where the veil is thin. Or maybe I've wandered into some terrible dream. Nana, I want to go home. Charlene? The woman's voice echoes like she's speaking underwater. Little black bubbles rise from her mouth to the mirror's golden rim. Stay away from me. Just keep away. It's me, Mama. Knees weak, I collapse to the floor. My wrists take the impact. The woman kneels, reaching for me, but the glass stops her hand. She looks anguished, young too. When she died, Mama was only 17, the same age I am now. You're not real. You can't be. Charlene, you're dead! I never stopped loving you. Her words bring 17 years of yearning to the surface. I stare like I could drink my mother, taking in every detail. The bump in her nose that mirrors mine, the color of her skin, 2 shades darker. I try to ignore the signs that she's dead, the gray around her mouth, the tangled mess of her hair, her fingernails yellowed and overgrown. Oh, Mama, what happened to you? Remembering, her eyes grow vague. 2 men stopped us at the state line. Said they were police, but they lied. They didn't like seeing your father and me together. A shiver racks Mama's shoulders. Don't want to think of all that now. As if compelled by a magnetic force, Mama glances at the dark behind her. A tear slips down my cheek. I can't believe this. Can't stay long, and you've got to get moving. Find your sister. Y'all have to fix what's been broken. My mouth dries up. Sister? I don't have one. Is this ghost really Mama? Or is it something else, pretending? Slowly I stand. Mama mirrors me. But I don't have a sister. She looks back at the dark. Can't stay long. Mama! I'm desperate to keep her attention. I said I don't have a sister. In the depths of Mama's eyes, I see headlights, a long stretch of road. My hands clutch into claws because this is Mama, dead and sunk deep in her death. But what she's saying doesn't make any sense. Your grandmother made a mistake. She broke the bond between twins. But it's not too late to fix things. Twins? Fix what's been broken, Charlene. Promise me. And then she's leaving me, trudging back into the watery pitch-black glass. Wait! I slam my hands against the black mirror. It shudders, ringing hollow. Mama, I don't know what you want me to do. She turns, opening and closing her mouth, but she can't make a sound. If there really is such a thing as a veil between worlds, it's thickened again. The living and the dead. We're segregated too. Mama raises her left hand, her expression determined. My skin creeps. With one long, overgrown fingernail, she slashes once, twice. The glass shrieks, ear-splitting. I slap my hands over my ears again. She slashes again and again and again, mauling the glass like it's ice. The house tremors, and I feel a gust of the otherworldly like I'm standing on top of a subway grate, while the train rushes beneath. Stop it, Mama! Please stop! She doesn't listen. She continues to slice with her fingernail, filling the room with glass screams. Overwhelmed, I bury my face in my hands. When I look up again, Mama's vanished. In the glass, gashes long and deep spell out a single word. Heathwood.